Hello there guys, Nomad Media here with another tutorial from Unreal Engine. Now today, instead of doing just explaining how blueprints work, I will be explaining how to create a character, like a pawn or something you can possess to actually move around in the scene in a more realistic manner other than orbiting around like this. Now, first off, what you want to do is make sure the editor can recognize that your inputs, which inputs are which. So you go to Edit, go down to Project Settings. Now, in the left sidebar, you can see under the engine category there is an input page. I'm going to click on that. I've already set some of this up because I've had to re-record this because I rambled on a little bit too much in the past recording. But for just the general explanation, we've already went over this in the last tutorial, 2 tutorials ago, of how to add inputs and everything. But it's just like that, and like this. Let's just PS4. No. 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 Right mouse button, left mouse button. I'll scroll down. Let's have it as, just call it 1. Now, that's basically just, yeah, just did that. And just added a input that where you press 1, it'll pass in a value of 1 to whatever scripts are hooked up to this event. Now, forward is basically taking W and S. W is positive because we want to move in the forward direction, and S is -1 because we want to move backward when we press S. Now, right is using the keys D and A. D is positive because we want to move in the right direction. A is negative because we want to move left. Mouse Y takes the input of mouse Y, or the Y axis of the mouse, and it is set to -1 because by default, your mouse's vertical input or Y input is inverted. I don't know what for reason, but yeah. Now, mouse X, it takes in a input of mouse X, which is set to 1 because I have honestly no clue of how the mouse inputs work. But we've got that set up right there. So what we need to do now is set up the player class. So we right click on the content browser, we go to blueprint class, and go to character. And you want to name it something that you can remember off the top of your head, because you will be referencing this a lot. And just new player, like that. That's what I like to call it. Now, what you need to do first is add in a camera component, so then you can set up where the character is looking from in the player class. So the construction script, you don't really need to really do anything with that right there. But for now, we can delete all of that boilerplatey code right there, and we can go in and start setting up the inputs. So forward, like that. Right. And we just go up here like that. Right. Like that. That's X. So what we can do is do that camera, and we get world rotation. Hold on. This basically to actually move in proportion of where you're not proportion in relation to where you're moving, like where you're looking. You need to do this. When you get the forward vector, get forward vector, get right vector, like that. And we add movement input. This is basically taking in all the arguments that we are finding right here and adding them in, like translating the character object around the scene. Yep. And right here we can just do add pitch input because Y will be up and down and pitch is up and down. And for X, we want to do add yaw input because that's changing the horizontal, what way we're looking at in the horizontal axis. Now that should be good right there, but first things first, one thing that we really need to do right now is change the use controller rotation pitch. I'm going to check that to true. Because by default, your Y won't be accounted for, or like your input that's moving the camera up and down won't be accounted for. Now we want to drag and drop this into the play area or the scene, and if we click play right now, we just instantly enter into this right here. We don't want this. We don't want this right here. We don't want that. So make sure your new player is selected. Go to details, type in auto possess, or already have it pulled up here for some reason, and you want to change auto possess player to player 0. This will be single player. We won't be doing anything multiplayer because honestly, I don't know how to do any of that yet. I will be learning soon though. But I'm going to click play after that, and we take control of the player character. Now, we can see here now that I have everything set up. I'm moving around my mouse, and I am looking around. So now I am pressing W to go forward, S to go back, D to go right, A to go left. Everything is working perfectly fine right here. Now, if you wanted to set up an input that registers like E or whatever to, like if you want to open up like a chest or something and you want to use E, you just go into the action mapping, use an event implement a event called use, and go down to keyboard if you're wanting to primarily use, and then this right here, use E. This will be whenever you press E, it'll call the use event. We can go into the new player and use right there, and for now we can just print string because this use inputs this input's gonna be we're not gonna be implementing it for a while. Alright, so whenever we press E, it'll display a message of use in the top left hand corner. Yep, it's working. There you go. Now, to have a short summary of how blueprints work, well, when you're calling an event or a function, it usually starts from this node right here, or this right here. And after that, this white line right here is how things are. Is basically the control flow. So if you wanted to build in some logic, then you'd want to do this right here. If you wanted to say, is pizza awesome? Go into here, filling in the condition, and if it's true, which it is, you will have to go through here like that, and then we will have other conditions. Then yeah, all right, well, that's it for this. See you guys. I will be making another tutorial, let's see here, which I will be explaining, well, how to import assets and manage them in the content browser. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.